Um, I want to move on to perhaps some notable cases that you had to oversee. And I have a couple examples from your book. One was with the star, Howard Rollins. I'll name the two others, Sanders, Letard, and Feltus Taylor. All of them represented one's ability to forgive, love, believe, and serve, as we talked about before. And I think that you, sir, based upon what I read, did a pretty good job at it. But why don't you, in your words, share what's important about these cases?
Well, one of in writing a book, um, I wanted the reader to understand some of the challenges that I had as a judge in dealing with certain kind of cases, and those cases kind of stuck out to me. There were others, but those three were, I thought, pretty interesting. First of all, I had just been elected to the district court, and as a district court judge as well as city court judge, each judge rotate uh, as to being the duty judge,
Hmm.
and the cases that come up during your duty week would inure to you to preside over during your tenure. Well, I had only been on the bench a couple of months, and lo and behold, in that duty week, I was reading through some probable cause affidavits. These are affidavits that the arresting officers would write up as to, why they arrested this particular person and so forth. And I would have to read and make a determination as to whether or not there was probable cause to actually make
Hmm.
this arrest. I had to certify it. And then the name of Howard Rollins popped up. It sounds like uh, I've heard this name before. And lo and behold, it was Howard Rollins, the actor, who was at that time they were shooting in Hammond.
Hmm.
And he was caught driving over 100 miles an hour. And when they pulled him over, they could tell he was high.
Hmm.
And and in the pat down, they found cocaine.
Mm.
And here we go. Howard Rollins, the noted actor, is in Baton Rouge. And I mused in the book. Uh, Here we have uh, Howard Rollins, um, actor. His character was uh, in the heat of the night. I said, here we have, he's about to have his own heat of the night right here in Baton Rouge. And when he showed up in court, and the name got around in the courthouse that Howard Rollins was, everybody, my courtroom was packed. It had folks unloaded in there, and when I had finished with his arraignment, women were running up to him, to get his autograph and so forth, and I had to bang on the gavel, order in the court, and rush to get people out of the courtroom. But a very talented man, uh, you know, a life that was really lost too soon, and talent gone to waste behind drug and alcohol addiction. Um, you know, I did all I could, try to put him in situations where he could rehabilitate himself, and he did well for a while, and then he fell back off the wagon. The the Letard case is two young white boys who, and this is right around Valley Park. Uh,
Hmm.
the overpass over the interstate served as a launching pad for them to hurl large, uh, huge pieces of concrete off
Wow.
down onto the interstate and crashed into the windshield of a young white uh, female and killed her.
Mm.
And here it is, they are in my court. Uh, and what struck me was that most folks would have been, hang 'em high.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, there was a program on WXOK talk show where everybody was saying, if this was two black boys, they would, be gone for life. Everybody wanted to, hang them high. But the mother and father of the young white girl who was killed
Mm-hmm.
showed the utmost compassion for these two young men and wanted them not to receive any jail time.
Wow.
And but I felt compelled to uh not throw them away,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time uh try to listen to uh the forgiveness that the parents of this young lady were showing, and this is where I talk about agape love, somebody being able to, forgive, but not necessarily forget. I took all of that in consideration, but I still felt that I had to incarcerate him. I didn't give him all that I could have,
Yes, sir.
but I wanted to make sure that there was enough whereby what they did in the sentence would serve as a deterrent, but also put them in a position whereby they would could be rehabilitated later on down the line. Um, the other case we were talking about was Feltus Taylor. Um, this was real. This was a capital murder case,
Mm-hmm.
and even though I had prosecuted somebody for first degree murder as an assistant district attorney, that person was convicted of life imprisonment. The jury decided not to give him the death penalty because it was a very horrible murder, and the guy who committed it had um, this was his second murder. He had
Mm.
served time at Angola and came out, and he was a neighborhood terror, and he stabbed this young black 18-year-old girl, just mutilated her. So I was fighting for her.
Mm-hmm.
But the Feltus Taylor case was, um, it was really, really, it was a hard case for the jury because it took a lot of time to select the jury. It's a very deliberative process. What people don't realize, it's to select a jury and ask them to consider um, taking a life, making a decision about life and death.
Understood.
And it's a hard decision for people. Um, and as the judge, my job was to impose the sentence based upon the recommendation of the jury. And it was, and I write about it in a book, things that happened during the course of the trial that was pretty traumatic. And at the very end, the jury found him guilty. The jury recommended the death penalty. Matter of fact, he took the stand himself and asked the jury to give him the death penalty. Because again, he had he killed a woman at a fast food restaurant and shot multiple times. The manager who ended up being uh, uh, paralyzed, waist down.
Hmm.
And so I had to grapple with my own personal inner self as to passing on the sentence of death, which after some, uh, personal uh, challenges, I finally went ahead and made that decision and passed on it.
Understood, sir. Um, these things speak of life, living, and death. That's what a judge has to deal with. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, see, people think that being a judge is about things sustained and overruled.
Hmm.
You're sitting behind the up at your desk and everything goes on in the courtroom. But the hardest part of judging is when you're sitting in your chambers by yourself and making the decision on somebody's life. Um, that's a true test. And some people are up for it and some people are not.
Hmm.
I tell youngsters right now, uh, you know, want to be like being a lawyer. I want to be a judge. Well, why do you want to be a judge? You know, what is it about you and your background that you think will help you to be a judge? Because it's not about just saying sustain and overrule. I mean, it's kind of popular to be able to sit up and say I'm a judge and so forth, but uh, it can be hard work.